Good morning, all my beautiful patrons. Today I have some turkey napkin rings for you. I have a patron of mine who is working on getting stuff done for a fall Thanksgiving themed crafts show. So I wanted to go ahead and do these for her so she could go ahead and start working on them. So I have two different versions here, and they are done out of felt. And then the feathers, one is done out of ribbon and the other is done out of flowers. So you have two different choices here. I think they're both really cute, and I think that they would be really popular. So the cost going into this is very minimal. Everything that I chose was as cheap as I could possibly find it, at least in my area. Hopefully in your area you can find it even cheaper. But for my area, the supplies for these cost less than $5. So, and you could get numerous napkin rings out of the supplies I bought. So the first one, the bodies and the napkin rings are the same. The only thing that changes is what we use for the feathers. So this one has just ribbon. This is just plain old ribbon that I bought at the Dollar Tree. And I chose fall colors since this is a fall Thanksgiving type of craft. So I thought I would go ahead and use the fall colors. So I have red, orange, yellow, and green. Unfortunately, I could not find them all in the same type of ribbon, but I think it adds a little bit of texture. You got 4 different styles of ribbon there. And then I go over with you how to cut out all of these pieces and sew on the eyes. You can also use googly eyes, which I think would look really cute, and it would be very whimsical. I couldn't find any of my googly eyes, so I just went ahead and went with beads, and I show you how to sew those on. And then these little pieces are really easy to cut out of scrap. And the napkin ring, the seam is hidden, so you don't see the seam at all, and I think that they would be great sellers. So here's the second version. Once again, the napkin ring is exactly the same. The turkey is exactly the same. The only difference is you were using fake flower petals to form the turkey feathers. So I chose fall colors for my flowers as well. I have a yellow, a red, and an orange here. And I only used half of the flower for these. And since these were multi-layered flowers, you could just grab one bundle of each color and you could get a whole bunch of napkin rings out of them. But I think these are really cute. This one's my favorite. I really like them. So they are very easy to do, and I think they would make great sellers at craft shows, or just, to have for your Thanksgiving table. I think would be a great addition to any of your decor, because they're really cute. And it's always nice to make handmade stuff for your holiday decor yourself. I actually have, for our holiday decor, I have crochet turkeys that I made, napkin rings, that are very similar to this, other than they're crocheted. So I hope this was helpful. So the things that you're going to need is you're going to need your felt. I have several different colors here, and you're going to need some scrap red and some scrap orange for the beak and the little wattle, or whatever it's called, the red thing that hangs off their nose. And then you're going to need either just brown or the tan and brown. I'm going to be doing the napkin ring itself out of this tan, and then the turkey out of the brown. So you could use the brown for both the turkey and the napkin rings, but I wanted a little bit of a contrast. So you're going to need those colors in felt. And with the red and the orange, you really only need a little scrap. So just keep that in mind. You are going to need the printout that I'm going to provide for you. I just Googled turkey stencil, and this is what it popped up with, and then I messed with the sizing a little bit in Word to get the size that I wanted. So I will provide this. You're going to need some black thread and a needle and some little black beads. You could also use googly eyes, which is normally what I would do, but I can't seem to find them. So I'm guessing my youngest has run off with them. But this is the next best thing, so just however many beads that you're going to need. But like I said, I would normally use googly eyes because I think it just looks so much cuter. But you know, that's totally up to you. So you're going to need some way of cutting your felt. So I'll probably be using a rotary cutter and a set of scissors. So if you're going to be using a rotary cutter, you're going to need a mat. So ways to cut. You're going to need a ruler to try to make your napkin ring very straight. And I find that using a ruler is the best way to do that. You're going to need your hot glue gun and extra glue sticks. And you will have to excuse the state of my glue gun. My youngest got a hold of it, so it's a little goobered up right now. And then the other things that you'll need are your ribbon for the first version of the turkey, and then your flowers for the second version. So I have 4 different colors of ribbon. I just chose fall colors, so this is what I was able to find, and that's what I chose. You can choose whatever colors you want. But since this is for a fall Thanksgiving themed napkin rings, I chose coordinating colors with that theme. I also chose the flowers in those coordinating colors. So you'll just need a couple different sizes because we're going to stack them on top of each other like this to create the feathers out of the flowers. And we'll be taking all of this plastic stuff off, and we're actually going to be cutting the flowers in half. So any flowers that you want, you could use just one flower if you wanted, but I want the texture of the layers and then the different colors. So I chose 3 different colors. And both the ribbon and the flowers I found at Dollar Tree. So Dollar Tree is a great place to be able to find stuff if you are looking for craft supplies cheap, especially if your Dollar Tree carries all the good stuff, which mine normally doesn't, but I got lucky this time. So we're going to start off with the napkin ring itself. So, and I found this felt at Walmart for 23 cents a piece. The bigger pieces, the browns, the brown, the tan, and the orange. And this is out of one of those multi-packs from the Dollar Tree. So definitely, you know, try and shop around for the best deal. So we are going to start with the napkin ring itself. So I know that I want my napkin ring to be as wide as this ruler. So let's see. I'm guessing that's about 1 inch wide. So I'm just going to line it up with the edge and then use my rotary cutter to cut right along that ruler. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 since I'm doing 2 different versions. You will go ahead and cut however many you need for your napkin rings, however big your set's going to be. So if you're making a 6-piece set, then you'll cut 6 of them. So after we've cut our piece, I'm just going to cut mine to 6 inches. because that's what I measured earlier that I think would make a decent size napkin ring. So we're just going to go ahead and put some glue on this end because we want to glue the pieces together. And we will cover this seam with our turkey, so you don't have to worry about that. And it makes a decent size napkin ring. So you'll need to go ahead and cut and glue however many napkin rings you're going to be making. So I went ahead and already cut out my other one because then I'm making two different versions today. And then we're going to move on to cutting out our little turkey. So like I said, I will provide you this little template, but you can go ahead and make your own if you want. It roughly needs to be around 2 inches in height, and the width really doesn't matter. Mine's just a notch under 1 inch, so we're just going to go ahead and cut this out. So what I'm going to do is I just cut out the square that I need. That way I don't have this big bulk of weight sitting around. And I'm just going to cut around it. And that should be what you have. So now we're going to go ahead and sew on our little eyes and glue on our little tiny little beak, and you just want a little tiny triangle for the beak. So I'm just going to cut this corner off and then trim it down to what I need. So it just needs to be a tiny little triangle, and then just a teardrop shape for the little red thing that hangs off their nose. It's probably a little too big. So just like that. And then you'll glue those into place. This is a very tiny piece, so be careful that you do not burn your fingers. And that just needs to line up with the corner of the nose, or the beak, I mean. I glued my fingernail. So now all you're going to do is just sew on your beads or put on your googly eyes. I'll go ahead and show you how I sew mine on. And then, like I said, I normally prefer the googly eyes because they just kind of add a little whimsical characteristic to it. So I've made crochet napkin rings. turkey napkin rings just like this and have put googly eyes on it, and they're so cute, and that's what we use every year for our Thanksgiving decorations for our Thanksgiving table. So I'm just going to come up from underneath and I'm going to pop one of those beads on my needle. I'm not going to pull my string all the way through. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail, and I'm going to go back through as close to where I came up as possible. And then how I like to secure it is I run my working thread that's attached to my needle through the center of the tail that I already have there, and that just secures it. And I'll just keep going up just like you're sewing on a button. You're going to go through the bead and back down the other side. And you're just going to keep doing that until your button is fairly secure. You don't think it's going to fall off. And then what I do is I just hop right over here to where I'm going to put the next eye. And you want to make them as even as possible because you don't want to have a crazy looking turkey. And then I just pop my bead on and I do the same process. And using the beads they're really cute too, so it gives them a lot more character than what you would if you just like painted on the eyes, because you have that texture from the bead being raised up. And sometimes I think texture makes all the difference. And I think they're plenty secure, and I think he looks really cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie it off in the back with a knot. And I always knot mine several times because I want to make sure that there's no way that's going to come off. And then I just cut it short. So I will be, I'm going to move on to my next turkey that's this size, and then I will come back and we'll move on to the next step. So go ahead and do all of your turkey faces, and if you haven't cut out your other turkey shapes, go ahead and do that and finish all of this section, and then I will meet up with you when I have finished my other one. Okay, so I have my little turkeys here. We're going to start off with the ribbon one. Alright, so I have 4 different colors here. So we're just going to take one and we're going to figure out how big that we would like our feathers to be in the back. So we're just going to measure it up against the turkey. Let me see. And we're going to do about 6 inches. So measure out each one of your colors at 6 inches long. And then what I like to do is I just kind of line them up together and then cut them. It saves me a lot of time from having to measure everything. I just have one more color. Now would be a good time to go ahead and burn the ends of your ribbon to keep them from fraying. I forgot to bring out a lighter, so I can't do that. But all you do is just burn over the ends, and that will seal them in so they don't fray. And then what you'll do is you'll just take your ribbon and you'll fold it in half. And you're just going to put a little dot of hot glue right there, just to hold the two ends together. It'll make it easier to manage when we're trying to put them on the turkey if they're already stuck together. And I wasn't able to get all the same types of ribbons, so I have a variety of different textures and finishes on these ribbons. So if you get the ones that are satin and you can basically see through them, be very careful when you're hot gluing them, because it'll go right through onto your finger. Okay, so now you want to figure out how you want to position your colors. So you want your colors to go in a certain order, then you'll need to figure that out right now. And then it really doesn't matter. It's totally up to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those the ribbon ends and we're going to glue them to each other. So I want orange to be next on mine, and you're going to want to tilt it just a little bit so where they line up next to each other, not right on top. So I hope you can see how I tilted that a little bit. And then the next one we'll do the same exact thing. Tilting it a little bit so it kind of fans out. And then we'll do the same thing with the last one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue the turkey to it. So what's best, and you'll have to work really fast at it, is to just put some glue on the outside of the back of the turkey, and then one straight down the middle, and just position your turkey right up the center of that. So just like that. And I'm oozing hot glue everywhere. And it doesn't matter what the back of this looks like, because you're going to glue the back of this to the napkin ring, and it's all going to be, you know, any stringers that you have, reposition your bow or your ribbons, and then You're just going to want to make a strip of glue right over that seam about the width of your turkey. And then you're going to put your turkey right over that seam. And you want your end of your turkey to stick out a little bit so it'll hold your ribbons kind of out flat. So that is the first napkin ring. You can go back after it's cooled off and figure out where you need to put extra hot glue. Just to make it real secure. Especially if you are making these for craft fairs to sell, you want to make sure that your work is nice and neat. And there you go. You can just set that aside and let it cool off. And we will move on to the next version. So the next version, you're going to need your flowers. We're going to pull off all of these plastic pieces. So they come apart, and then there's probably a piece that pops up through the middle. Well, it's supposed to at least. So yeah, there's a little plastic piece, and those can just go in the garbage. So we just want our petals, and we're going to do that with all of our flowers. Ugh. I suppose it's a good thing that they're really stuck on there like that. Oops, and I pulled that one right out the middle. So some of these have different layers, and that's a good thing. So you just want to play with your different layers and figure out where you want them positioned. And since I have different colors here, I know that I want to add in the different layers of color. So I think that that is what I want mine to look like, and we're really only going to be using a section out of this, so you might be able to get more than one turkey out of each section. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take each one of our petals and cut it right down the center. And you'll be able to get 2 turkeys out of one little section of flowers that you've chosen. Okay, so you want to take your flowers and arrange them how you would like them to sit. And then I'm just going to put a little dab of hot glue right there in the center, just to be able to glue all these pieces together. And putting it right in the center isn't going to disturb anything because we may have to trim some of this off. We know the turkey is going to go right in the center, so. Ouch. be very careful when you're doing this because, man, that hot glue is super hot. So you should have this plume of petal leaves, and then we're going to glue our hot glue our turkey right in the center. Like this. That way the petals kind of poke out above his head. So I hope that you can see that. It's about halfway up the turkey. We're going to, right about where his tummy would be, we're going to glue that part up. So I'll show you. And then we're just going to pop some hot glue on it just like before. You'll have to move pretty fast. And remember, only halfway down the turkey because we're only putting half of the turkey on the petals. So it should look like that. So the flower petals are its feathers, and its body will be hanging off. And we're going to put the napkin rings on just like that. So once that cools down, we're going to go ahead and pop some glue on the seam of the napkin ring. I'm out of glue. Just like we did before. Not a whole lot, but just a little line. And we're going to put our turkey directly on that seam where we put the hot glue. And you want to make them as straight as possible. Ouch. And you want to be careful of any hot glue oozing out, that it doesn't burn you. So that is what your second version of your napkin ring looks like. And these are really simple, and it doesn't take a whole lot of supplies, so they would be great for craft fairs. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.